So let's say you're lost in the woods. First of all, what the hell? How are you lost in the woods? How do you not have an emergency plan, a map, a cell phone, something? But okay, let's say you're lost in the woods. Let's say forces unknown have dropped you off here and left you to fend for yourself. Okay, you know that, given, no references from the outside world. Let's say it's cloudy, as it is. So you don't know where the sun is. You know that humans will generally wander in a very large circle around and around and around until they collapse from exhaustion. But you know that if you keep going in one direction, if you manage to keep going straight, then you might well survive. But how do you know you're keeping in one direction without a compass or a map? Well, you should know. This is something that most people know, that moss grows on the north side of trees, like this. Because moss prefers damp conditions, dark conditions. In the northern hemisphere, the north side is going to be damper and darker because the sun will normally shine on the south. It's opposite, of course, in the southern hemisphere. Sun's mostly in the north there, so moss will grow on the south. But I'm currently in the northern hemisphere, I know that much at least. So this must be the north side of the tree. No. No, actually, that's not true at all. Because north is that way. North side of the tree, no moss. Because it's actually much more complicated than that, which is something you may not know. You should not use moss for emergency navigation, because the microclimates in the area, particularly here, I'm in Ravenna Park in Seattle. This is just a ravine with very little in the way of sun from any direction. The microclimate here means that the west side of the tree is actually going to be the darkest and dankest and mossiest. So if you're in a flat plain in perfect conditions, well, perhaps it might help you. But for emergency navigation, your best idea... Well, look, let's put it this way. I'm not Bear Grylls. The best way of surviving is not to get lost in the woods in the first place.